那下面的话呢，我们再来看一下一则讲座。
Listen to part of a lecture in an art history class.
Now in Europe, in the Middle Ages, before the invention of printing and the printing press, all books, all manuscripts were handmade, and the material typically used for the pages was parchment, which is animal skin that's stretched and dried under tension so it becomes really flat and can be written on. During the 1400s, when printing was being developed, paper became the predominant material for books in Europe, but prior to that, it was parchment. Parchment is durable, much more so than paper, and it could be reused, which came in handy since it was a costly material and in short supply. So it wasn't uncommon for the scribes or monks who produced the manuscripts. Remember, before printing, books were made mainly in monasteries. Well, the scribes often recycled the parchment that had been used for earlier manuscripts. They simply erased the ink off the parchment and wrote something new in its place. A manuscript page that was written on, erased, and then used again is called a palimpsest. Palimpsests were created, well, we know about two methods that were used for removing ink from parchment. In the late Middle Ages, it was customary to scrape away the surface of the parchment with an abrasive, which completely wiped out any writing that was there. But earlier in the Middle Ages, the original ink was usually removed by washing the used parchment with milk. That removed the ink, but with the passing of time, the original writing might reappear. In fact, it might reappear to the extent that scholars could make out and even decipher the original text. Perhaps the most famous example is the Archimedes palimpsest. Archimedes lived in Greece around 200 BCE, and as you probably know, he's considered one of the greatest mathematicians who ever lived, even though many of his writings had been lost, including what many now think to be his most important work, called The Method. But in 1998, a book of prayers from the Middle Ages sold in an art auction for a lot of money, more money than anyone would pay for a damaged book from the 12th century. Beautiful or not. Why? It had been discovered that the book was a palimpsest, and beneath the surface writing of the manuscript lay, guess what? Mathematical theorems and diagrams from Archimedes. Archimedes' writings were originally done on papyrus scrolls. Then, in the 10th century, a scribe made a copy on parchment of some of his texts and diagrams, including, as it turns out, the method. This was extremely fortunate, since later on, the original papyrus scrolls disappeared. About 200 years later, in the 12th century, this parchment manuscript became a palimpsest when a scribe used the parchment to make a prayer book. So the pages, the pieces of parchment themselves, had been preserved, but the Archimedes text was erased and written over, and no one knew it existed. It wasn't until 1906 that a scholar came across the prayer book in a library and realized it was a palimpsest, and that the underlying layer of text could only have come from Archimedes. That was when his work, The Method, was discovered for the first time. The palimpsest then went through some more tough times, but eventually it ended up in an art auction where it was bought and then donated to an art museum in Baltimore for conservation and study. To avoid further damage to the manuscripts, the research team at the art museum has had to be extremely selective in the techniques they use to see the original writing. They've used ultraviolet light and some other techniques, and if you're interested in that sort of thing, you can learn more about it in an art conservation class. But actually, it was a physicist who came up with the method that was a breakthrough. He realized that the iron in the ancient ink would display if exposed to a certain X-ray imaging method, and except for small portions of the text that couldn't be deciphered, this technique's been very helpful in seeing Archimedes' texts and drawings through the medieval overwriting.
这个讲座就是 Art History， 对吧？提到的是关于艺术史的问题。那么其中具体讲到的是什么内容呢？讲到的就是 parchment， 也就是羊皮纸，对吧？然后羊皮纸其中提到的就是关于羊皮纸的这样一个特征。那么在具体的展开过程当中，就举到了一个例子。这个例子呢，就是阿基米德的手稿，对吧？这个 palimpsest 意思就是重写稿，对吧？好，具体的，这里大家看到就是一张羊皮纸了，对吧？那么这篇文章应该算是一篇比较经典的文章，主要原因就是因为这个 parchment 这个概念，大家在听的时候可能会感觉难度比较大。那整体的话，由于难度比较大，所以就会给这篇文章对这篇文章留下深刻的印象。但我们说，文章越难，题目倒未必越难，对吧？所以只要把这个重点部分掌握住就可以了。你像6道题目就是围绕哪些问题来展开的呢？好，下面我们就来看一下第一题。What is the lecture mainly about？ 4个选项。那这4个选项当中，大家会发现有区别，但是也有共同点。比如说有2个选项 ，B 选项和 D 选项，这2个选项就是有很大共同点的选项，因为其中都有提到一个修复的问题。你像 B 选项当中有提到 recovery， 对吧？然后 D 选项当中有提到 restoring， 对吧？那么具体应该选择哪一个呢？这就要考虑到本文的结构。本文结构就是由一个 topic 引出一个 example 的结构。example 的话就是阿基米德的数学原稿。那我们说在这种文章结构当中，最后判断主旨的时候，要将 topic 和 example 结合到一起来，而这个 example 有可能会换词，所以的话呢，根据这样一个思路来进行判断，那大家就知道正确答案应该选择的是 B 选项，阿基米德的数学原稿。虽然 D 选项看起来很像是正确选项，但是由于全文并没有分析到各种不同的 technique，actually it has only mentioned one technique， 对吧？所以 D 选项是错误的选项。但是的话，我们应该如何判断，对吧？由于这篇文章是一个topic 加 example 的结构，所以在文章开头部分，仅凭开头部分，咱们只能找到部分关键词，但笔记还是要记清楚的，对吧？那文章开头部分，教授说什么呢？Now in Europe, in the Middle Ages, before the invention of printing and printing press， 在出版技术出现之前 ，all books， 这就是一个背景的交代了。到目前为止的话，关键词还没出现，对吧？往后听 ，all books, all manuscripts were handmade, and the material typically， 信号词有 typically used。那 the pages was parchment， 羊皮纸，所以我们笔记当中应该记下的就是 parchment。那什么叫做 parchment 呢？后面有对其进行定义解释，它就是动物皮毛，动物皮毛被伸展开来之后再晒干之后的话，它就会变得很平 flat， 对吧？这样就可以在上面写字了，所以这个就叫做 parchment 了，对吧？好，那么这是第一题，就是第一题当中的话，我们在文章开头部分只能得到其中的部分信息，不能得到全部的信息。但是全文结合在一起的话，相信大家应该也能够判断出来，对吧？好，那么这是第一题，而第二题。What are 2 points the professor makes about parchment？ 那对于羊皮纸，教授到底说了什么？4个选项，我们看一下其中是区别大还是共同点大。A 选项说的是 it is more long-lasting than paper， 它比纸更好用，这个持续性更长，对吧 ？B 选项 it was inexpensive to produce during the Middle Ages， 在那个时候不贵。C 选项 ，it was the material Archimedes used for his writings， 它就是阿基米德用来写自己的数学原稿的材料。D 选项 ，its use for books decreased after the 1400s， 在15世纪之后，人们就不怎么用羊皮纸来写书了。所以4个选项差异是非常大的。换句话来说，大家在自己的笔记当中应该是能够找到对应的点的。那我们听到老师说的就是，During the 1400s, when printing was being developed，paper became the predominant material for books in Europe， 对吧？所以当时纸的话呢是最主要用的，用纸用的最多。好，那么在那之前 ，but prior to that, it was parchment， 然后就有 parchment 特征了。Parchment is durable, much more so than paper. was durable much more so than paper. Durable 的意思就是持续，比 paper 能持续的时间更长。And could be reused, which came in handy since it was a costly material. 它很贵，对吧 ？And in short supply， 而且不够，对吧？那这样的话，咱们就能够判断出来正确答案 A 选项。It was more long-lasting. Long-lasting 就是 durable 的换词，对吧？至于 B 选项直接排除，对吧？然后 D 选项 ，its use for books decreased after the 1400s. 15世纪之后主要用什么呢？主要用的就是 paper 了，对吧？所以应该选择 A 选项和D 选项，这是关于它的判断，对吧？好，那么这道题，而在这一部分我们并没有听到阿基米德嘛，阿基米德还没有出现，所以不能够选择，对吧？好，下面第3题。What does the professor imply when he explains the washing and scraping methods that were used to remove ink from a parchment surface? 当用这种用牛奶擦洗的方式来去除羊皮纸上的墨迹的时候，教授提到这一点的时候，他想说什么，对吧？4个选项。看一下区别大还是共同点大？那很明显 ，A、B 选项是有一定的共同点的。A 选项说的是 washing made parchment more able to retain newly applied ink than scraping did， 所以这里就是将 washing 和 scraping 进行对比。那我们基本上已经可以排除了，因为从题目也就看得出来 ，washing and scraping 是一种方法，对吧？然后 B 选项说 washing was less effective than scraping as a means of permanently erasing ink， 说擦洗没有 scraping 好用，对吧？然后 C 选项 the scraping method was used in the creation of the Archimedes palimpsest， 说palimpsest， 说这种方法就是用在阿基米德的数学原稿的创作过程当中的。然后 D 选项 neither method completely erased the original text， 没有任何一种方法是能够将原文完全去除掉的。4个选项差异也是比较大的，对吧？然后我们听到什么呢 ？In the late Middle Ages, it was customary to scrape away the surface of the parchment with an abrasive, which completely wiped out the writing that was there. 但是在那之前 earlier in the Middle Ages, the original ink was usually removed by washing the used parchment with milk that removed the ink， 所以它有个时间上的区分，因此正确答案应该选择的。好，我们来看一下4个选项。首先，第1个选项 ，washing made the parchment more able to retain newly applied ink than scraping did。它的意思是，如果用擦洗、用牛奶擦洗这种方式的话呢，那么羊皮纸像新书写上去，新的墨迹就比较容易留存得住，对吧？而如果你用 scraping 这种方式，就是把它擦掉这种方式的话呢，那可能新的墨迹就保留不住，就很有可能很快消失。这是 A 选项的意思。那么 B 选项 ，washing was less effective than scraping as a means of permanently erasing ink， 对吧？说和 scraping 比起来，用牛奶擦洗，它的有效度就没有那么高，对吧？意思也就是说，如果用牛奶擦洗，过了一段时间，这个字迹可能会重新再现出来。所以 A、B 选项都是在对 washing 和 scraping 进行对比，区别在于。A 选项强调的是，当你擦完了之后，那么新的字迹，再来写的话，是不是更好用？而 B 选项的意思就是 ，washing 和 scraping 相比，哪个去除字迹更加有用，对吧？所以这篇文章主要讲的是什么呢？主要讲到的是去除字迹的问题，因此我们可以直接把 A 选项排除了，对吧？然后当然。C、D 选项也还再看一下 ，C 选项说 the scraping method was used in the creation， 说这种方式就是用在创造阿基米德的 palimpsest 数学原稿的过程当中的。而我们这篇文章讲的是 recovery、restoring 修复，对吧？所以 creation 这个可能不能用的，它的意思就是创造，就第一次书写，对吧？然后 D 选项 neither method completely erase the original text， 两种方法都不能完全消 除之前的文本，对吧？好，那么这是这样，剩下的 B、D 选项。那 B、D 选项里面到底选什么呢？那听到老师说的就是 ，In the late Middle Ages, it was customary to scrape away the surface of the parchment with an abrasive, which completely wiped out any writing that was there. 好。所以，如果你用 scraping， 它是 completely wiped out， 这个大家应该是有听到的，对吧？然后反过来一个倒叙的方式，在那之前 ，but earlier in the Middle Ages, the original ink was usually removed by washing the used parchment with milk that removed the ink， 对吧？所以在那之前，一般用的是牛奶。然后我们听到后面也就知道。这里面主要讲的就是能否去除字迹的问题，所以正确答案就只能够选择 B 选项 ，D 选项不能选，因为从刚才那一段话当中，我们已经判断出来，老师的意思是，如果你用 scraping 是能够完全去除掉字迹的，对吧？好，所以 B 选项这两个是有一定的对比的，对吧？那么第4题 ，What type of book became known as the Archimedes pamphlet？阿基米德的数学原稿到底是一个什么样的书呢 ？A 选项历史书 ，B 选项物理书 ，C 选项这个祈祷用的书 ，D 选项艺术用的书，对吧？那这本书它到底是一本什么书？纯细节的内容了。我们听到是 That in 1998, a book of prayers from the Middle Age sold in an art auction for a lot of money， 所以它是 a book of prayers， 对吧？祈祷用的书。牧师用的书，然后在那之后 ，it had been discovered that the book was a palimpsest and believed the surface writing on the manuscript led mathematical theorems and diagrams from Archimedes， 所以正确答案应该选择的那就是 Prayers Book， 对吧？应该选择 C 选项。这是这一道题。好，下面我们来看一下第5题。What does the professor imply about the various techniques used to view Archimedes' test？ 再去观察、再去检验阿基米德的文稿的时候，我们用到了各种不同的方法。对于这些方法，教授有什么说法，对吧？是对于教授的一个潜在含义的一个推论。那既然是推论的话呢，咱们也要考虑到文章的主题。而文章的主题的话，就是对于文稿修复的问题，所以它更多的是从一个 efficiency 或者 effectiveness 从这个角度来考虑的。那我们看一下4个选项，区别还是比较大的。A 选项说的 students should be familiar with most of the techniques， 学生应该了解大部分的方式。B 选项 different techniques were used to analyze the iron content of ancient ink， 用了各种不同的方式来分析古代墨水当中的铁含量。然后 C 选项 the use of ultraviolet light was more damaging than the other techniques， 紫外线比其他的方法危险更大。然后 D 选项 X-ray imaging was more effective than the other techniques， 所以 X 光线比其他的光线更有用，对吧？其他的方式更有用。那么我们既然是4个选项的区别比较大，我们就要看一下其中的关键词。那 A 选项是完全没有关键词的，所以基本可以排除了。B 选项当中的关键词呢就是 iron content， 对吧？ C 选项关键词就是 ultraviolet， 然后 D 选项关键词就是 X-ray， 对吧？那到底听到了什么？大家就要回到笔记当中去考虑。而笔记当中很明显我们有听到 X-ray， 但是听到这个不代表它就是正确选项，你要注意一下它这个到底是怎么引出的。然后教授说的就是Actually, it was a physicist who came up with a method that was a breakthrough. 信号词 breakthrough， 这是一个突破，对吧？后面说什么呢 ？He realized that the iron in the ancient ink would display if exposed to a certain X-ray imaging method. 说如果我们将这个文稿去经过 X 光透视的话呢，就能够展示出来其中的铁。And except for small proportions of the text that couldn't be deciphered, these techniques have been very helpful in seeing Archimedes' texts. 好，所以我们就知道了，关键词有2个，一个是 iron， 一个是 X-ray。那到底应该选择 iron 还是应该选择 X-ray？ 那最终就回到文章的主题，所以正确答案应该选择了 D 选项。这篇文章当中讲的就是 effective technique of restoring， 对吧？所以 effective 这个是应该考虑的内容。而且 B 选项当中的话呢， 关键就在于它讲的并不是 iron， 而是 iron content， 对吧？那这个就错了。好，这是这一道题。然后最后一题 ，What does the professor imply about the significance of the Archimedes palimpsest？ 关于阿基米德的数学原稿有什么重要性？教授有什么说法？4个选项都比较接近，对吧？那我们就要找到区别的部分。A 选项说 ，It is significant because it contains what may be Archimedes' most important work。它很重要，因为它是阿基米德最重要的一个作品。B 选项 ，It is significant because it proves that a certain mathematical text was written by Archimedes， 因为它能够证明有些文本就是阿基米德写的，对吧？然后 C 选项，是因为 It is the oldest one ever discovered， 这是我们这到迄今为止发现的历史最悠久的一个原稿。Sorry。C 选项 ，It is significant because it is the oldest one ever discovered。这是我们迄今为止发现的历史最悠久的一个原稿。然后 D 选项 ，It is significant because it is the first one to be completely deciphered。它是第一个被完全破解的。那大家就会发现，A 选项呢是从 important 角度来讲的 ，B 选项呢是从这个作者的角度来讲的。C 选项和 D 选项呢，都是从年代的角度来讲的。不过一个讲的是最久，一个讲的是最早，对吧？最早被发现。那到底听到了什么呢？就这句话 ：This was extremely fortunate. Extremely fortunate. Since later on, the original papyrus scrolls disappeared， 对吧？因为在那之后的话呢，这个原始的文稿就消失了，对吧？就我们找不到这是阿基米德的真迹的证明了，所以正确答案应该选择的就是 A 选项 ，contains what may be Archimedes' most important work， 对吧？其他的就都找不到了。这里面并没有提到时间上的问题，也没有提到作者的问题，作者就是 Archimedes， 所以只能够选择D 选项，对吧？A 选项，对吧？好，那这篇文章的结构呢，还是那种非常传统的结构。一开始呢就是 topic， 对吧？完了以后呢，就通过一个 example 来说明这个，然后 example 有自己的线性的特征，在判断主旨的时候呢，要将 topic 和 example 结合在一起来，对吧？那这种文章结构我们已经讲过很多次了，这里就不再多说了。